you everyone in this pleasant evening. Change is a process, not an event. I congratulate everyone to take part in the process of changing yourself to attend Bangalore Toastmasters meeting on this evening rather than partying. This is called upon sergeant norms. Every Toastmasters meeting has 3 ground rules. Oh, sorry, I forgot to switch off my mobile phone. Please switch off your mobile phone also, not to disturb everyone. Like today, icebreakers are giving their first speech. Don't walk in the middle. Move only when you hear applause. Refrain from talking about sex, religion, and politics. I was preparing for my CAT exam during the lockdown to upskill myself. In my first attempt, I got more than 75%. I re-applied for the exam to improve my percentage. This time what I did was I became more confident and thought of preparing while working. I am unable to manage work and the preparation at a time, but I wrote my exam. I am aware that I will be get less than the previous year, but I prayed and offered bribes to God so that something unexpected things will happen with my result. And that day came, result came. I got less than my previous result. That day I realized hard work is directly proportional to luck. If you do more hard work, luck will come more to you. I am going to introduce a person who is a professional corporate trainer, and once I heard him saying that he used to conduct class for more than 8 hours continuously without a break. Please help me in welcoming President of our club, Toastmaster Shashank Bhai.
Thank you, Palapan. Good evening.
Very good evening.
Welcome to the legendary Bangalore Toastmasters Club. Can we have a round of applause for ourselves? I call to order meeting number 1391 of Bangalore Toastmasters Club. The minutes of the previous meeting 1390 was shared with the members over WhatsApp and mail by Secretary Toastmasters Pass. Are there any amendments to the same? If not, I pass the minutes of meeting number 1390. Do we have first time guests amongst us today? Can you please stand and introduce yourself, tell us who you are and how do you get to know about the club?
Yes. I'm Balraj. I'm from Christ University. So I just came over here because my friends told me to join and just look out how it is. So that's the only reason I'm here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Myself, Kevin. I studied in Christ. My teacher
Hi guys, I am Prakash. I am looking to join Toastmasters Club and overall to improve my communication skills and presentation skills. And I'm looking for options, so I came here and hope to find it a match.
I'm sure you come to the right place.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
My name is Akash, so I came here because my brother recommended.
He is my brother.
Welcome. Any other first time guests? Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Ganesh. So I'm currently a designer and looking for public speaking skills. So I just explored here and my friends recommended me. So I just came out here.
Great, welcome. So, dear members, how do we welcome our guests to the club? During the break and post the meeting, the executive committee of the club will talk to you and tell you about the club, about the memberships, about any other programs you offer which should benefit you. So please talk to our VP membership, Toastmaster Jose. At the end of the meeting, he would come and talk to you anyways. You are free to talk to all the members Talk to them, socialize, familiarize with them, get all your doubts clarified. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
Now, when I saw the theme for this week's meeting, bold from the blue, it didn't come to me or hit me as a bolt from the blue, because I knew where our VP Education, Toastmaster Priyanka, is coming from. Because when I took up the role of VP Education in the last term, most of them encouraged me and supported me during this endeavor, and many of them specifically told me about the challenges we usually face as a VP Education. Because whatever you see here, the role takers, the speakers, evaluators, tag team, what if someone is not there, the replacements, it's all arranged by the VP Education of the club. And as soon as I saw the theme, I realized, okay, probably the people who told her about the problems, I think that hit her mind, and she's facing the problems, and this theme came out. I can give you one example of my own theme, which my own term, in the last term. It was in May, in the month of May. It was a normal Toastmasters meeting with a TMOD, Table Topic Master, and a General Evaluator, with 3 speakers and 3 evaluators. In the history of the club, we may not have seen the Table Topic Master back out, the Toastmaster of the day back out, 2 speakers back out, 1 evaluator back out, and on a Wednesday. Imagine the plight of the VP Educations of the club. But what I was told by my fellow Toastmasters here when I took up the role is that what if one person backs out? There is always someone to grab that opportunity. So we make sure that we groom others as well in case someone backs out and they're ready for the job. So when we are ready and when we are prepared for the unforeseen circumstances, we may never know what may happen. In case we are ready and prepared for it, any bolts will not strike us. I have this simple funda in my life. How many of you are positive thinkers? Can I see a show of hands? Think positively, be positive. Very good. I beg to differ from you. Because whatever I am about to do, I always take 10 seconds time and see what if something goes wrong. But I will not worry about that. I will not break my head into that. What if? Just be prepared. In case everything goes on well, very good. In case something goes wrong, we will not panic. We are ready for it. That is what Toastmasters will teach us here. And that is what I have learned from my experience as a VP Education in the previous term. And that is what I am sure Toastmaster Priyanka is also learning now. And all of you, I am sure, will take up the responsibilities, will step up to the challenges and learn together. Which is again the theme for this term, Together We Evolve. To take the meeting forward, we have a Toastmaster of the day, who again, I've seen one of the most social persons of our club. He talks to all the guests. In fact, my first experience of meeting someone here at the same room was today's Toastmaster of the day. He came to me, I was sitting there in the last row, like you guess. He came to me, he asked me who I was, where you from, welcome to the club. He made me welcome. I realized that this is not a club, this is a family. By profession, he is an audio producer at Galata, where he manages a lot of podcasts, talk to great personalities, hears his opinions, also publishes it online. Please put your hands together to welcome the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Puneet Surana. Can we have it going, please?
Happy evening, everyone, and officially welcome to Bangalore Toastmasters Club. You can have a round of applause to welcome you. I'm very fascinated by Toastmasters history. So before I tell you about the history, can I have a first-time guest, just in the raise of hands? Okay, a few. So To the rest of the members, I'll tell you some really interesting trivia about Toastmasters history that I've dug from. That's going to be very fascinating for all of you. But for those of you who have come in for the first time, Toastmasters is an international organization. In fact, we are at the 99th year of our founding, and it has over 16,000 clubs globally and have about 3.5 lakh active members at this moment. But we have impacted millions of young orators and speakers and communicators across the last 99 years. Now, we have always celebrated Ralph C. Smedley. For the first timers, Ralph C. Smedley is the founder of Toastmasters Club. And I feel bad because he gets all the credit for Toastmasters. Yeah, answered? Nice. Just getting gifting calls. But back to Toastmasters. For 24 years, Ralph C. Smedley, who was with an organization called Young Men's Christian Association, YMCA, in America, he had been trying to bring youngsters together to help them communicate and lead. But every time he would shift, he would be moved from one YMCA to another, the club would break apart. It wouldn't last. And something happened around that time in America. It was a very progressive era in America where you had the likes of Lions Club, you had Rotary Club, you had Kiwanis International. All of these community-driven clubs were springing up across America. People were getting more and more involved with community. In Santa Ana, California, when Ralph C. Smedley was there was this young man who had come in, this gentleman, who really liked what Ralph C. Smedley was doing with the youngsters at YMCA. And he insisted on starting another club like that. Well, it took a lot of persistence to get Ralph C. Smedley to sit down and chronicle, catalog, and crystallize the entire Toastmasters process. This gentleman persisted. He was an advertising salesman. He was really persistent. He got the first manual and got a thumbs up from Ralph C. Smedley to start another club. He went back to Anaheim, California, and he was the founding member of the first charter club, apart from the founding club in Toastmasters. Now, what's fascinating about this that really intrigued me was Ralph C. Smedley would drive every week to Anaheim to make sure the meetings happened according to the manual. And he did that for the first 6 months. For the first 2 or 3 months, he went every week, but after that, he went once a month. And what's also fascinating is that this club, the Anaheim Toastmasters Club, is where this gentleman came to the idea of mentorship. He would have the senior speakers mentor and coach the newcomers for the first and second speech. So this is where mentorship came about. And to give the club a credit, because this is very important, we have this legendary story in Toastmasters of how we accommodated women, and it took us 50 years to get women members. But actually, if you go down the archives of Toastmasters, in the Anaheim Toastmasters Club, there was a sub-club called Toasties that was women only. In fact, if you read the newsletters that were published in 1932, 1933, you will see most of the Toastmasters meeting used to happen in a restaurant or a cafe. So once a month, you would get your spouse along. So it would be like a community meeting, a complete family gathering. So women were always involved in Toastmasters. And to go take it even a step further, there used to be speech crafts just for women. Not for 8 weeks like we do now, but for 12 weeks. So women were always part of Toastmaster and its growth. It was not that we didn't include them. It's just a charter rule that got passed in 1938 that we had to discontinue them actively involved as Toasties or Toastmasters Club. Okay, with that background and dip into history, let's get back to the meeting. Oh, by the way, the name of the gentleman, that took me so long to find. I know the last time I was a Toastmaster, I had given up this challenge. Nobody took it up, so I took it up on my own to find his name. His name is Clark J. Chamberlain. Clark J. Chamberlain. He was the first president of Toastmasters International, and he was the founding member of Anaheim Toastmasters Club. And somebody we really need to celebrate more, because he came out of the blue and and was really instrumental in crystallizing Toastmasters as we know today. Okay? Now back to the meeting. There are three parts to Toastmasters meeting to the first time guests. There is prepared speeches, there is the table topic session, and then there is the evaluation session. Now, prepared speeches is where 4 members have prepared their first time speech today, which means they'll be speaking for the first time for about 4 to 6 minutes with us, and they'll be telling us about their stories, and we'll get to sit back and listen to them. So I don't have much of work after this. The second is table topic session. It's a very interesting session because it's a packed meeting today evening with 4 speakers, as members know. So it's going to be really fast paced and very exciting because you're going to get topics out of the blue. And the third is the evaluation session, which I think is the driving force of Toastmasters, where veteran Toastmasters evaluate the newcoming Toastmasters. Having said that, I just want to quickly give a shout out to the general evaluator today, Alan Arhana. Can we have a round of applause for Alan? Now, to assist me throughout these 3 parts of the session, I have something called as a tag team, which is timer, counter, and grammarian. Now, the timer is a whiz in biochemistry and zoology, and she's part of a club called Open Heart in her college, St. Joseph's. So can we have a huge round of applause for Shreya, who's the timer today?
Hello? Yeah. So, time is a very peculiar thing. As for married men, time goes slow when they're married, when their wife is talking about diamond necklaces and all that. And time goes slower than a snail when students like us have a boring class. And as a timer, it is my duty to record the duration of the entire meeting and its individual parts. For today's meeting, the speeches are all icebreakers, so it's going to be from 4 to 6 minutes. At 4 minutes, I'll be showing the green card. At 5 minutes, I'll be showing the yellow card. And at 6-minute mark, I'll be showing the red card. And table topics, at 1 minute, I will hold up the green card. At 1.5 minutes, I will hold up the yellow card. And at 2 minutes, I'll hold the red card. At the end of the meeting, I will give my report to the general evaluator and submit it to the club secretary in order to become a part of the permanent record. I wish all the icebreaker speeches all the best.
The second member of the tag team loves to zip around the city, and she's made it to our club in record time today. So please join me in welcoming the counter, Bhavna.
Hi everyone, I'm Bhavna and I'm your counter for today. My roles and responsibilities include listening to every speaker on stage, for the use of unnecessary pauses and crutch words such as and you know, and recording these and reporting it at the end of the meeting. I would like to wish all the speakers good luck by this tip: making good use of pauses and sticking to the point will help you avoid the use of crutch words like I just did. Thank you.
For grammarian, we have a very enthusiastic member of our club that is also studying stats and computer science at St. Joseph's College. Can you please have a huge round of applause for Brian D'Souza?
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Good evening. As a grammarian for today, I will be carefully listening to all the members who come on stage and also the guests who come on stage and speak up. It's also my responsibility to note down the good usages as well as the not so good usages of today. And I will be introducing the word of the day. The word of the day being inch meal. By definition, inch meal means little by little or gradually. When used in a sentence, the troops moved through the village inch meal, recapturing it virtually house by house. Another one, they worked on the study guide inch meal up until the exam. I will be submitting the report at the end of the meeting.
Brian. Let's get to the first prepared speech. But before that, can I have the first evaluator? Now, for the first time members, we'll have just one evaluator, and for new members as well, guests. We'll have one evaluator because the project is same for all four. So we just have the first evaluator read out the guidelines. Can we have a round of applause for Robinson D'Souza?
Good evening, everyone present here. Good evening. The objectives of the first page, the icebreaker, are two. First point is to begin speaking before an audience. The second, to discover speaking skills he already has and skills that need some attention. The time allotted is 4 to 6 minutes.
Well, I told you about the founding member of Anaheim Toastmasters Club, Santa Ana Toastmasters Club. He's the founding member of Bangalore Toastmasters Club. So can I have two applause? Well, the prepared speaker today, he's mentored by the one and only Rajdeep Manwani. And I noticed today while he was prepping, he was also mentored by the evaluator even before the speaking session. So having said that, he is pursuing dynamic leadership path in the pathways, and his speech title is From Nowhere to Somewhere. So please join me in welcoming somebody who's traveled across the world, has 25 plus years of experience in the travel industry, Mehbubullah Khan.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear distinguished guests.
Good evening.
बेटे, your tongue and your hands दोनों साफ हैं, आपको इज्जत और खाना कहीं भी मिलेगा. Meaning, if your tongue and hand is clean, you will get your food and respect any part of the world. This is one of the advice my mother gave me. Even today, I follow this, and it is one of my secret of success. When I was 10 years, I lost my father. It was so difficult for my mother because she, being a not a literate lady, to raise 8 children, and she wanted everybody to study, not only study well, but having no maternal parents, no uncle, aunt, nobody educated in the family, nobody to guide us. My elder sisters and my brothers barely managed to clear 10, and some of them two of them just reached 10 plus 2. But I was in no mood to settle for less. I had a long list of desires, and one of them is to travel the entire world and be a boss, and to achieve something extraordinary that everybody feels proud to be recognized with me. So I learned that bachelor's degree was required to be a boss. So I did my bachelor's degree in economics. After finishing my degree, went around for looking for a job. I did not get a job. So one of my friend's father told me, why don't you take up a travel and tourism course? That will help you to get a job. So I borrowed some money, then finished this travel and tourism course. And after that, again the pursuit started. I walked into every travel agency asking for a job because there was nobody to recommend me to anybody else. So I went myself. That's where I met Mr. Melvin in Indica Tours and Travel. He saw my enthusiasm. He said, I will give you an opportunity. You start working for me. So I was given a job to deliver tickets, collect payments, and so on. But when I was about to deliver a ticket, I had to write a name of the passenger on the envelope. So when I went to deliver the ticket to the Korean Airlines boss, She saw my handwriting and asked, who's written this? I said, it's me, hesitantly. She said, good, would you be interested to take up a job with me? Without wasting your time, I just said immediately yes, because getting a job in an airline was a big dream too. So since then, it was like a bolt from the blue to get a job in airline. Then, having worked for 3 good years in Korean Airlines, knowing how the travel agency functions, that's where I met this gentleman who was a US immigration agent. Because as I told you before, my dream was to go to America. So these guys assured me that if I work with him for 6 months, he will get me a visa and he will take me with him to America. So I resigned Korean Airlines, went to Bombay with him without any pay. I worked for 6 months. One fine day, he put me onto the visa appointment. I went there, but unfortunately, I was rejected, and my heart was broken. But I never gave up. Came back to Bangalore, took up a job with Sita World Travel. Fortunately, that travel agency was bought over a company from a Swiss company called Kony. Then we were asked to go to Switzerland to attend the program, and I was trying for a job. Did not happen. Then I moved on to Holland, worked in a school, but it was so harsh, cold weather, I had to come back to India. Then again, hunt began. Finally, my friend told me, hey, I'll help you to get a job get a visa for Australia, a study visa. Will you be interested? I said, yes, why not? I went to Australia. That was a changing moment for me. I had no one in Australia. I just went on my own. Took up a course, studied for 3 years, worked. That's where my life changed. Economic status improved. And 3 good years I worked, came back, got hitched. I'm married to a professor, and a professor in economics. I have a son who is pursuing 10+2. After working for 2 years for Air Canada, biggest bolt from the blue was a travel agency came to me. I said, hey, would you like to travel to US along with the students? I said, yes. For what? To attend NASA program. Since then, no looking back, I have been able to take 23,155 students worldwide, having traveled to US alone 54 times. And I have covered 5 continents. And by the grace of the Almighty, I have my own company. To conclude my speech, from nowhere to somewhere, every opportunity in your life is a chance for you to make it bad or make it good. Thank you.
From his rising economics in Australia to getting married to an economic professor and then going back to school. My God, yeah, never bola. That's a whole round circle for you across the world and across all experiences. Whew. It's fascinating because I did not know his speech beforehand and how beautifully it's linked to the next speaker. And the next speaker, before I get to her, can I have a quick applause for Hannah, who's the evaluator. She's a past-time president of our club. And I have to tell you, I went through her introduction and I was surprised. She worked with the royalties, she's worked with philanthropic organizations, she's worked with spiritual organizations. It's fascinating. And the one that really stuck out to me was she was part of the UAE Sheikh's private plane or private aircraft. It's crazy. So please join me in welcoming a member of our club who's gone through so many varied experiences that her speech title is, I forget it, I'm sorry, somebody's been calling me. What's the speech title? Exploring Life. Yes, thank you. So please join me in welcoming Vidya Sridhar Bangalore. Bangalore is her last name. Vidya Sridhar Bangalore.
to share the twists and turns in my life. I'm born in Bangalore. I have 3 sisters. My parents, Dr. Sridhar and Narmada, brought us up to be independent individuals. My father had 4 schools. I studied in one of them. I always wanted to be a scientist. So I took up BSc to pursue pure science in National College, Basangudi. Meanwhile, in college, my mind ran towards anything new, women's liberation, Western philosophy. As a result, my grades in final year BSc suffered. I applied for MSc Physics. To be on the safe side, I applied for Masters in Mass Communication as well. I got selected in Mass Communications, so I joined. Halfway through the course, like a bolt from the blue, my parents found an alliance for me and got me married. I was just 20. I moved to Abu Dhabi to join my husband Ramesh and his fun-loving family. My son Vivek was born when I was 21. In Abu Dhabi, I worked initially in the advertising and news agencies. Later, I moved to the airline industry. I worked for Gulf Aircraft Maintenance Company as a technical records officer, and later with Amini Flight, the private airline of the President of UAE, Sheikh Zayed. I was able to experience the high competence in the airline industry. My second son, Varun, was born a year later. And meanwhile, I had a life-changing situation. I attended a talk by an eminent philosopher. His talk made me think of my whole life. It was like a bolt of thunder which struck me. I got a pathway to my life, a purpose for my life. After 18 years in Abu Dhabi, we returned to Bangalore. I took over my parents' school. I also joined RV Teachers College to do my B.Ed as a full-time student. It didn't matter. My classmates were 20 years younger to me. I wanted to learn what education was all about. I also did my master's in education. I taught physics and maths for 10th standard students. My school catered to children from low-income families, but I wanted to give them the best. So I got in NGOs to help me. I had Teach for India, Bangalore Little Theatre, Attukalari, and several others. My school buzzed with energy, children learning from various avenues. Parallelly, my interest in philosophy deepened. I also knew I had to think about what will happen to my school in the future. Both my children had different careers. I had no one to take over. So I took the most difficult decision in my life. After considering various options, I gave 1 year notice to the parents and the education department that I was closing down the school. I'm satisfied the transition happened so gracefully. Incidentally, COVID broke the final month of the school. As soon as the school closed, just after COVID, I became the president of the Inner Wheel Club of Bangalore Orchards. It was a service organization and I did many projects. Now I have my own Swami Vivekananda Charitable Trust. I have adopted a school and I am catering to a village panchayat library. Youth from so many neighboring villages in Bidadi come to this library. I support them in their quest to crack the competitive exams. I also spend time with my 8-year-old granddaughter Arya. My elder son Vivek is a pilot in Air India. My daughter-in-law Akila is a doctor. My younger son Varun is pursuing PhD in America. I am satisfied with exploring the outside world. Now I am exploring the Indian inner world. I think Toastmaster is the right platform for me to hone my skills in speaking, in exploring my thoughts and feelings, and move inch me towards unraveling my potential. Thank you, everyone.
So the next two speakers, get comfortable receiving a standing ovation. I've been waiting 8 years for my second standing ovation. You don't want to wait that long. Such a wholesome life, yeah, Vidya. My goodness. You know, when I had called her to interact with her for this, she was like, I'm a jack of all trades and master of none beneath. And I'm like, no, this is such a wholesome, fulfilling, fully fascinating life. So congratulations on the journey of had so far. The next speaker, can we have a quick round of applause for the evaluator, the fashionable Tanya? She's going to be By the way, she clothes 20 lakh people every year. That's fascinating. Hats off to you. The next speaker is mentored by distinguished Toastmaster Gangadhar. And what else can I tell you about this speaker that is not in his speech? His speech title is Humble Beginnings, but what I like about him is how relatable and comfortable he is to speak with, and it's fascinating of the journey he has led so far. At the moment, he is the solutions engineer at a sales organization, a sales tool organization called Wimo. So please join me in welcoming Gaurav Malviya for his big icebreaker speech.
Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests. Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests. Good evening. As humans, we all take great pride in talking about ourselves. And it's a brilliant tradition of Toastmasters to start our journey with that only. So, my name is Gaurav Malviya. My name means pride and home. I was born in Padwani 24 years ago. I did my college from Institute of Engineering and Technology, Indore, in computer science engineering, and then I joined sales startup Wimo, as Pune described. My journey begins from a village. Majority of my life I spent in village, and it was difficult, uncertain, but it was quite pristine. My mom, which was born and brought up in Padwani, she was finding it difficult to adjust this new way of life, and she was very worried about me being lagging from my peers, not having the appropriate exposure, and she wanted to send me to English school in Bhutan, but my grandfather didn't approve of this thought, because for him it was very time consuming and hectic, and he thought that the education is available nearby only. So why should I spend my childhood days traveling in bus? So he declined to allow me to go to a nearby town. But then my mother was not ready to compromise in that. She was persistent. So my grandfather eventually thought of that he'll take a test if I complete that, then he'll allow me. Otherwise, I won't be able to pursue that. So he gave me some English words to read, and let me tell you, I was a child who haven't stepped in any schools by the time, and I was just like taught by a family. But to his surprise, I was able to read all of them, and that eagerness of me for learning and my mother's persistence, my grandfather had change of heart, and then he became a admirer and constant support. You see, my parents, both of my parents have a profound effect on my personality. My mother, who is very spiritual, loving, yet strict. She has high hopes for everybody, including herself, me, my little sister. And she believes that people should keep rising and attain great altitudes like a bird. While my father is hardworking, kind and compassionate, who believes that people should have their roots strong and grow tall like trees and achieve great heights. Clearly, they have a difference of opinion. And it gets in way sometimes, but they complement each other. My mother instills me with this continuous desire for improvement, while my father teaches me to be grateful and enjoy whatever I have achieved yet. Growing up, I was a curious child. I used to break things and to see like what are happening inside them, and like to understand how the workings of things happen, and then to try to assemble them. And I was quite resourceful in getting things to work around. That tendency of me to do this, I would like to attribute to that to my father, because like I vividly remember my father taking me to highest hill in our village, and we would spend time watching sunset, stargazing, and having long discussions about science, philosophy, life, etc. My father always used to give answers to all my ridiculous questions, no matter they are connected to what we were talking about. Even if he wasn't able to answer my questions, he would make the effort of finding the answers afterwards. To summarize, I am grateful for having a serene life in village, to have a family beyond my parents, and then to have an experience of liveliness of city. My purpose to come to Toastmaster is to challenge myself and conquer my fear of stage. I would like to embrace new chapters and conquer metaphorical and literal things.
You know, it motivates me a lot to see somebody like Gaurav on the stage today. I can tell you, hand on heart, come back here 2.5 years later, and he is here consistently. He shows up every week. Oh my God, you're gonna see a Gaurav that's a whole different version. I've seen that with Satvik. I've seen that with so many members who are stammering, stuttering, forgetting, going blank, going blind, like completely dazed out. And I've seen them evolve inch meal by inch meal to become such flawless, elaborate, eloquent speakers you have to hold yourself at the edge of the chairs. So I'm excited about it, motivates a guy like me. The next speaker is pursuing the leadership development pathway, and her evaluator has been somebody who's held our club together throughout COVID. So can we have a huge round of applause for Vedya? Thank you for holding us together throughout COVID. Stupendous leadership abilities here. The speaker mentored by Sumitra Manmohan ma'am, and she has a very fascinating journey from the hills to another hill called Bangalore, but her journey is very fascinating. You will find it interesting because you will get to see a side of her that I'm looking forward to. She's otherwise very reserved and shy. Her speech title is Life is an Ephemeral Ice Cream. So please join me in welcoming the Executive HR of PepsiCo, Himani Pandey.
Life is an ephemeral ice cream. Let's enjoy all the flavors it has to offer and relish all its moods, merry and mellow, before we let its precious moments melt, and we better not leave scope for any regret. I, Himani, personally believe that one of the most relevant virtues to live by is to live and revel in the moment, with an eager and excited eye on the future. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Good evening. I hail from the land of my namesake, that is snow. My elementary years saw lush white, snow-laden nature days and warm, humble evenings in the Himalayan foothills of my hometown, Nainital. Coming from a society far from the current glamorized urbanscapes and social obligations of window dressing, I believe in simple pleasures of life. Every member of our little Himalayan neighborhood imbibed living with respect and warmth for everyone around, including nature, animals, children, strangers, and the community as a whole. My tribe and people around me, including my colleagues, know me as an independent woman who's ambitious, energetic, optimistic, and a goal-oriented individual. My first taste of a big city was when I moved to Pune for my higher education, where I did my master's in HR. I've lived in Delhi for about a decade before I moved to Bangalore, the city that I now call my second home for the past 6+ years. I have been working as an HR professional for around 14 years now, and I've been working with various industries, with people from various world areas. I love to engage with people, and here are some fun facts about me. I'm a fitness enthusiast and extremely passionate about traveling. I love reading fiction, classics, and thrillers. Sibling banter and moments of fun were regular while navigating through life and our youth. In my family, I have my mother and two brothers. My younger brother and I are very close. It was my high school board exams, and with my mother traveling and I busy with my board exam preparations going on in full swing, it was the best opportunity for my younger brother to play cricket matches. He would step out of the house at 10 a.m. in the morning, only to get back at 7 in the night. My teenage mind thought that he wasn't very serious about his studies, and I decided to teach him a lesson. One day, my neighbor and I, we hit his brand new cricket bat in the backyard. For several months, my brother would not go out and not play cricket, but watch TV at home. Well, later he came to know that it was within the house, but this very juvenile and banter act taught me a couple of things that I would like to share. Sometimes we keep looking for our beloved virtue outside of us, only to find it within. It's very important to respect and value others, As long as they're enjoying what they're enjoying and it's not harmful, and approach them with curiosity and compassion over judgment. My mom taught me the importance of financial independence in life. She always says, no matter where you go in life or who you get married to, you have to be self-reliant. This is something that has kind of stayed with me and something that fuels me, that has always fueled me to support and to push myself to do better in life whenever moments of self-doubt arise. If it weren't for the dreams my mother had for me, I wouldn't be me. One of my New Year determinations this year was to hone my public speaking skills, and it gives me so much joy to be here as part of this wonderful club. I'm really looking forward to a great learning journey with
Wow, four fascinating stories. Surprising how I've seen her at table topics and she's a nervous wreck. Oh my god, she broke the ice so gracefully. Good job, yeah. That's what I would tell you offline, but I didn't get to say it on from the dais. Now we have a 5-minute networking break. So here's the challenge for first timers and new members. Go say hi to 3 new people. You have 5 minutes, have a nice chat. We'll see you in 5. And the break starts now. The meeting. This is the table topic session, or where members and at times guests get to speak extempore. So without further ado, please help me welcome somebody who's doing his MSc in Computer Science from St. Joseph's College, and he's doing it for the first time. So please be super supportive of him and clap extra loud. Please wrap up for a round of
Hi, Toastmasters. So I've lined up a very interesting way of doing the table topic today. I'll be calling for names, and I would like you to pick one item from the bag and speak about it for 2 minutes. So the first speaker would be Toastmaster of Bangalore.
Pass.
Toastmaster Ankit. Just pick one item. Just pick one item. More pressure.
Just like the bolt from the blue, I got this topic. I was in Toastmasters, my initial days, and I heard this speaker saying, everything that comes out of your body stinks. It's only the words that you can make very aromatic or feel fresh or good in nature, right? Most of the times, we focus more on our outwardly appearances. We spend a lot of time, energy in putting that facade or mask in order to look good or be very impressive while we meet people. But have you really imagined yourself in the best of the attires but with the worst diction? All I want to say is, if one, and the very fact that all of us have gathered here, are present here, only means that we give a lot of importance to communication, to what comes out of our mouth, the words. On that note, I would say focus less on the things which are not important, just in order to look good, but have a great set of diction and communicate effectively so that whenever you speak to someone, the person never forgets you. So yeah, and if at all you're speaking to someone closely, please do have that. If you don't have that and you have a bad breath, even the best diction cannot help you at all. So yeah, that's highly recommended. Thank you so much.
Distinguished Toastmaster Gandharv.
Vote from the white. A book, Leaning Tower of Pisa, or what? Anything, we can speak about it.
Good evening to all Toastmasters and guests. Well, the rabbit I got out of the bag was a book, fortunately. Because I had a peek what else was there. And whatever was there, I thought maybe I'll pick up the book. So it's not all that much of a board on the white. Now, book is something many of us today have forgotten. In fact, to the extent that I remember my days when I was working for Air Canada, and those times we used to have automated tickets, so the machines used to print out tickets. And later on, when I started doing some freelance writing for the newspapers, everything was on the laptop. And I was getting a bit frustrated because I couldn't sometimes read my own handwriting if I ever wrote a sentence. So today, what I have started doing is I have a fountain pen and I try, and whenever possible, which is quite often, I write at least one page from any book or anywhere, any text, because it has more than one advantage of learning to write and keep that. It helps you with your cursive way of thinking, it helps you to relax, and I know that even if I start, as time progresses, your hands will not shake, you still probably would manage something. So I think today writing is one thing, but books, read a book, one in a year is good enough. Can you do that? Throw away those mobile phones, keep it away, have some disciplines with the mobile phone, and instead pick a book, anything, and read. Because the fun of reading, you will not find it anywhere. And that can be your best companion for life, to enlighten you, to educate you, and for your progress. And with that, I hand this over back to the topic master.
Toastmaster Sudhanshu.
Hello, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening. Good evening.
So, Oxford Dictionary. So it's something I guess everyone have used in our college days, and I guess most of us belongs to early 2000s. So when this tech was not so much savvy or were not used that much. The good thing I remember dictionary, that's why I remember ABCD. I don't remember R, E, U, or any other alphabet. But since I have to search in the dictionary and it's all arranged alphabetically ordered, whenever I go and search any word, it helps me to remember ABCD to throw J. And one more benefit of dictionary is like, this one is small one, but when the dictionary is big and you are small, you can use it for weightlifting or weight training if you are reading it. So it's dictionary is a book that you won't love to read alone. It's a complementary. If you have another book which you are reading, and you need a support, that's why dictionary. I hope no one reads dictionary for a pleasure or just to know words more regularly. And what more about dictionary? It's the spelling of dictionary DICTIONARY. Hope it will fulfill my time to. Yes, thank you.
Toastmaster
There's a lunch, okay, there's a lunch box with broken. broken butter. Okay, alright. Sometimes when you are faced with the problem and you get good food to college, you will be surrounded by many hands. Let's say you get a good biryani to college, to school or college, you will have around 10 hands surrounding it. And people would finish it and you would have like nothing left. So some solutions may include that you may get an extra box just for your friends, but it may not work if your friends are very hungry and they want some more. So an uncle suggested this to me. I have not done this. He suggested, Taran, why don't you, if you get this habit of your friends taking away your food, you should actually try putting some laxative in it. So yeah, so that is one of the solutions. But although that may lead to more issues, I would suggest sharing a meal with your friends, or either ways not bringing food that like a good food to college and leaving it at home. But in the end, sharing is caring. So that's what everyone ought to do if you want to have a good friendship over the long term. Over to you.
Toastmaster Sampath.
So time is very important for anyone. One who uses the time well, definitely he will succeed in his life. There is no way that he will become failure. And all we have 24 hours, and we have a lot of work, schedule in our life. We have to go to office, and we have to take care of our physical fitness, and also we have to take care of our family people. So I always believe that the one who wakes up 8 in the morning between 4 and 5, he has his entire day to use it very fruitfully. When he starts a day, he does something. Maybe you read a book, or you go for a run, or skipping water food, you cook your food. And when you start that way, you start your day very positively. So when you go to your office and work in your office, you can be very effective because you already started very nicely your day. So when I see this clock, I remember that when I was studying 10th, I asked my mom to get a alarm clock like this, and but I used to snooze for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and still it helped me to wake up sometimes. So everyone, it's very important that managing our time. So I think nowadays I am doing it well. Those few months before, I was struggling to do everything in a day to complete whatever I wanted to do. But nowadays I have some strategy. I have my own plan, and I wake up early and I do things.
Toastmaster Varsha.
we in our friend circle have a code word. So when we refer to batting and batting pitch, we refer to full meals, right? So every time we went out, especially to gate crash the unknown weddings, we had these code words. Of course, we did not want to get humiliated before our colleagues. So this is how we used to converse, right? Hey, how about batting today? You know, our home pitch. What about our home pitch? You see, we have 2-3 events in Koramangala, and there are about a few in Bangalore. So these are the only memories that I have with batting, or the sports, or the pitch per se. I was mostly associated with cultural activities and not sports. Had I been associated with sports, I would have been a little more disciplined, I would say. But yeah, I have a very, very fond memory with this. We as friends would always make it a point to miss PE periods because we would also use it for games of our own choice. How many of you can relate with this? Bunking PE periods to, okay, I have at least 2. Okay, slowly the hands are going up one after the other, right? Okay, there's the third one there, right? So I very well remember carrying one such bat home, and unfortunately, I took the beatings for 2 reasons from my mom. One, because I got the school property home without even intimating at school, and second, because I had not finished my homework for some reason, and that was the tool that she used. So it was effectively utilized, and finally it was handed over. So maybe someday in the future I would be trying my luck with it. That's about it.
I request all the Toastmasters not look into the bag. I want to create the element of surprise. Toastmasters Srinivas.
Torchlight. Good evening, Toastmasters and beloved guests. Basically, in college days, leaving from your hostel, it can happen only when you have torchlight. Those days, mobiles didn't have lights because they were not allowing mobiles. So torchlight was one of the ways I used to give signals to friends that it's free now, we can go and enjoy. Of course, movies, whatnot. So this is the memory which I have about the torchlight. Probably most of you must be thinking this torchlight would have helped me in studying. I think it has helped me in other ways. And of course, other ways of handling a torchlight is we never used to have inverter those days, right? And this was the way to see each other's face, who is there with us. So this was one of the fond memory for me to use torchlight and used those days to enjoy myself. With this, I hand over.
Toastmaster Girish.
Good evening, Toastmasters and new guests. Coming to CAP. It serves a lot of purpose for different people, I would say. I mean, for people, I could recollect one of my college friends. He was literally was looking like in Shah Rukh Khan in college days. Now, often I see that on Facebook he usually wears cap. I can understand what he does. So obviously, that is one way. Cap also means a lot. People try to communicate in different ways. That somebody has put in local colloquial language, Topia. Somebody has knocked him out. So, at points, cap also plays an important role. I meant for helmet when you're wearing, it's very important when you're playing cricket that you should be very careful of using it. Otherwise, you have a very serious damage for your life. So I think that is a very useful narrations of cap, I would say. Thank you, Vidya.
Toastmasters Saloni.
Good evening, everyone. So, me and my sister, we have a duty. Like one day, if I put clothes to dry, she has to take and fold it. So, my topic clip. So, I'm taking this clip. So, we both one day I have to put clothes for dry, and the next day she does. So, it was my turn, and I put clothes for dry, and unfortunately, from my hand, this clip fell down. And then I, being the elder sister, I have the power of saying this work to my younger sister, saying that you have to go get that clip. And I just said this to her. And then she's like, no, the other day I asked you to bring glass of water for me. Did you get that for me? I'm not going to do this for you. So next we go near mom, and for a silly reason at our home we have this, for silly reason we go near mom. And I was like, see, I did this work for her when she said me, and she is not doing this work for me. And then my mom is like, who made this clip, who was the reason this clip is falling down? And I was like, it's me. But I was like, morning, she did something wrong and I did it right, so it's her duty to do it right now. And at last, my mom had to get that thing out. Thank you.
Toastmaster Joseph Paul.
Whoa.
Cheating.
Whatever is there, it's yours.
I will be able to see it and
We will be able to see you.
Mr. Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I think this comes with age. Because at a certain age, you require this physically to see things better. And on another side of life, I think it gives a lot of insight. It gives you better vision. So that is where the balance in life is about. So I think this comes with experience. That's what I have to say in short. Because this comes in very handy when you have experience in life. It helps you see things a lot more clear and a lot more better, and make wise decisions. So on one side, we use this to see things in a larger picture or have a better vision. But on another side, sort of philosophically speaking, I think it gives you a great insight into life and helps you see things much more clear and help you progress in life and make your decisions wise. Over to you.
Toastmaster Aditya.
I keep getting ideas all the time. Like how Einstein, whenever he gets an idea, the emoji pops up, and I keep having various ideas. For example, in the beginning of last year, I had an idea to invent an electromyography machine, which could potentially detect Parkinson's disease in elderly patients. I also had an idea to build a Martian spacecraft, a rover which can travel through Earth, space, and Mars, as well as rescue people from difficult to reach places. I also had an idea to start a company, which I'm gonna go through in the next few days. So I'm done with registration because I am the youngest pro bodybuilder in the nation. I've started to build a company which focuses especially on that. I've gathered a bunch of testimonials from a bunch of clients who have gained a lot of experience and knowledge from my training and my nutritional expertise. So I've started my own personal training company for that. So I keep gaining multiple ideas, much like this light bulb. Or like Thomas Edison, for example, he had the idea of a light bulb. So he himself was a scientist. And I had various ideas which I have combined and hopefully shine into further helping humanity and guiding this wonderful speed. Thank you.
Toastmaster Children. Children, I'd like you to pick two objects. I don't want to get So what should I? You connect these two objects and speak. Okay. So I got one is aeroplane and one more is sanitizer. For a sanitizer part, I'll come first because till the COVID hit, I didn't know what was the sanitizer. That was the first time I got it, and I got a one bottle, and it is still there in my home. I have not used it much because I used to borrow from the office. And the second one is the aeroplane. I don't know. Right now, I guess to link it, I'll say that it is mandatory in wherever you get in the airport or somewhere where you carry your own sanitizer. Because it will still, you may be over with the COVID, but I don't know what disease you may get into. And this sanitizer will help you actually, whatever is you have touched or anywhere before having the meal or anything. So which doesn't go directly into your system and it kills the germs, right? So I think that is the only possible connection I can come up between sanitizer and this one. I think India exported many sanitizer through plane, I guess. I think that's it. Okay, thank you. Toastmaster Subhas.
Usually I go to gym and while I'm doing workout in the gym, I used to sweat. So I use a napkin to clean equipments and also and sometimes it is raining when I don't have an umbrella. I put a towel on my head and I go up and I use a sponge to clean a table, TV and chair because there was a lot of sponge in my old sofa and I used to remove all the sponge and I used to use the sponge to clean equipments and these days I don't have the necessity to go to the shop and buy the towel and sponge because I use old cloths instead of towels to my old clothes to clean things. And, I don't think we need a towel. Some people, when I'm in a traffic signal, some people sell towels. And since they're poor, I purchase towels from them. I'll keep them at home. Thank you.
Toastmaster Abhay.
One more.
Topic master, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The two objects that I've got out of that bag are a tie and a knee brace. I really like to use this, but I hope I never have to use this. Never said. And I hope nobody has to use this. But then let's try to connect the disability and the tie. So how are they connected? The disability to knot a tie was something that I had for a very long time. And I used to be fascinated by people who could knot ties really quickly and make them look absolutely professional. And the day I learned to knot a tie was exactly the time when I had to go for my college placements. So I had literally forced my father to help me knot a tie. And that is where he showed me about 2-3 times, and there was no YouTube at that time, there was no mobiles so that we could refer to videos. Of course there was the internet, but then who could stand in front of a computer and then learn to knot a tie at that time? So my dad taught me to knot a tie like 3-4 times, and I miserably failed, so I thought it was a big handicap on my part. But then I was not the kind who would give up. So I stayed up, I think, for about 3 hours in the night, and somehow I figured on myself to knot a tie. And then things became quite easy, and I used to help others to knot their ties, and it used to feel such a moment of pride that, okay, I know how to do this. And similarly, even when it comes to knotting or tying a safa or a headgear, before my wedding I thought I learned to do it myself. And fortunately I looked at YouTube this time, practiced for several hours on end in front of a mirror with a really long 5-meter cloth, and I was able to get it. So in life, disability or knotting a tie, you got to go on and keep trying, so you will get it one day.
So that concludes the table topics of the day. I'll give it over to the Toastmaster of the day.
14 speakers for table topics. When we have 4 prepared speeches, that's probably a record somewhere with our club. Can we have a huge round of applause for this creative ideas? For being so ingenious, finding a way to save time and still give things out of the blue. So thanks for those words. The next and the final part of our meeting today evening is the evaluation session, which really is the powerhouse behind Toastmasters. And to take us through this evaluation session, I have somebody who's very able, at times intimidating and very loud. But he's a thorough professional, having been across multiple companies. He's back to his home turf, where he's running something called as Hidden Valley in Chikmagalur. So if you ever think of getting out of Bangalore for a trip and want a discount, you're going to reach out to him to to go to Hidden Valley in Chikmagalur. That's my plug. I hope I get my discount. But having said that, he heads the operations at Arhana Homes. So please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Alan Arhana.
So good evening everybody, and well, I would firstly like to say that it was a wonderful meeting till now, and without too much introduction about the theme, let's quickly delve into how this meeting started even before most of you got here. I would really like to, congratulate a very silent person, but when he comes on stage, he becomes a lion. Okay, that's Kolapan. The name is also like a very powerful name. He puts in a lot of effort when he comes here. Okay, I don't know whether many people know this, but moving these chairs, making sure that the hall is set, it doesn't come like this. A lot of arrangements are made even before people come here. So, Kolapan, great job in setting this whole thing up. So please give him a huge round of applause. Personally speaking, when I first met Kolapan, I thought it's difficult to get 3 words out of his mouth. Okay? But honestly, when he took up the Sergeant at Arms role, he has moved from strength to strength. Firstly, I really liked today's meeting where 30 seconds before the meeting started, you reminded everyone to settle down, which was great. You're looking smashing, right? That's always great. And you have a great throw of voice, right? Which is always helpful. Having a great throw of voice is always helpful. The only thing is that while you have, innovated with introducing the, the things that some people need to know, like for example, keep your mobile silent. So you said, let me do that. It's great. One thing that I would, that you can improve on is the fact that when you're speaking, you predominantly are looking straight, right? So what happens to the left and right, they don't feel connected. And as a Sergeant at Arms that's starting a meeting, I think it's great if you look around the room, and making eye contact makes everyone feel, wanted, and especially guests, right? And you are the one who's kick-starting the whole meeting. But apart from that, great job, Kolapan. Please give him a huge round of applause. And then we moved on to our ever dynamic, smart, dashing president, Shashank. I think one of the greatest attributes of Shashank is the fact that he has this enduring presence of making everyone feel at home. And if that wasn't good enough, he tried to get an introduction from every guest. Not just that, while they spoke, he also, reacted to that. It was not just listening, oh, what do you do? Oh, thank you, next. It was not like that. There was a nice thing. So everyone felt, at home, and that's a great attribute to have, especially as a president, and I think you have that. I think Bolt from the Blue was very well expressed through the experience of being a VP head. And one has, it's like it was two, you actually met 2 briefs in through, I'm not even getting the word, but it's 2 birds in 1 stone. Yeah, that's right. 2 birds in 1 stone. One aspect is to introduce the VP Ed role, you introduced it, but more importantly, just to talk about and pay tribute to what a VP Ed does. which a lot of people don't know. I think that's great, and you did it effortlessly, which is an amazing thing to do. One of the things I truly admire about you, Shashank, is the fact that people have a theme at the start, like the overall theme, Together We Evolve, and they only do that in the installation ceremony. But you have continued to reiterate that, and I think you really deserve a huge round of applause for that. Those who have a own unique style, the only thing that I could ask you to challenge yourself on is your energy level. If you can change your energy level, especially at different points of what you're saying, it can really add a lot to what you're saying. But apart from that, please give a very big round of applause. There's of course the dynamic Toastmaster of the day, which I will come back to, towards the end. Now, we had the prepared speeches. We had our first speaker, who was Mehboob Ullah, and his evaluator was Robinson. Simply may I request Mr. Robinson.
Thank you, Salan. Good evening, everyone present here. Good evening. Can you believe that Mehboob Khan gave his first speech? It's very difficult. First public speech from here, the way you presented it. Yes, speech must have three things: the opening, body, and conclusion, and they must interlink. Look at the opening. His mother's advice. My mother, keep your hands and tongue clean. You will succeed anywhere in the world. From there he began. And he said that's one of the principles of success of my life. Then he narrated his childhood. At the age of 10 years, he lost his father, his mother, uneducated, had to bring up 8 children. He was the 6th. His elder siblings studied up to SLC beyond 2 years more. And this person had a dream to rise in life. And how he narrated. He became a graduate, could not get a job. A neighbor told him, you do try a course in traveling, you will get a job. He did it. Again, he could not get a job. Started going to visiting travel agencies. Met Melvin, I think our Melvin.
Yes.
He gave him a job. Looking at his energy and enthusiasm for 300 rupees, I think.
Yes.
One other thing, let us not miss. He was appointed to write tickets and deliver to the clients. When he went to a Korean agency, they saw the handwriting, asked him who wrote it. We will give you a job, come here. He embraced it, changed his life. Then his dream to go all over the world. He visited Switzerland first, Holland, and then Australia where he worked. Then he wanted to go to United States. He didn't succeed, but he got an opportunity. Today he has visited US 54 times, NASA. 25,150 students here changed their lives. What a dream, what a story you narrated. Confidence, voice modulation, everything was there. He went there with only gestures, one hand used, other hand was engaged. I suggest Mr. President to try to purchase a column mic, please. Great story, really amazing. Thanks. Then to conclude, yes, he said, there is no set moment in your life that will define you. Every moment is a chance to change your life for better. And this project requires me as an evaluator to suggest what things you can improve. What can I suggest to you? There is still, we are learning, there is still to go up, but I can tell you one thing, I am looking forward for your next speech.
Thank you.
He presented his speech within the prescribed 6 minutes, 05 seconds.
Thank you, sir.
As a general evaluator, it is my duty to not evaluate the speaker, but the evaluator. Thank you for that thorough evaluation. The only thing I think you could have added to what he could have done is when you end your speech, right? Do not say thank you at the end. So after you finish your speech, pause so that people remember what you have said and take that in and just transition over to the Toastmaster of the day. That is something that can enhance and not dilute your end. But apart from that, for the speaker and the evaluator, please give a huge round. Moving on, our second speaker was Toastmaster Vidya, and she was evaluated by our past president, Toastmaster Hannah. May I request her to please come on.
A very good evening, my dear fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
And in particular, Vidya. Vidya, from your speech, I was very inspired by your life. It is true to the caption of your speech, Exploring Life. You have on every count met the guidelines of your speech. You gave us a background about your family, your parents, your education, and what you're doing now. You had the right balance of talking about your family and yourself. You took us through the twists and turns of your life. And from what I learned from your speech is that you are a very courageous person. You pursued your education, your master's, much later in life as well, though you have already done your master's, yeah? And you're a very meticulous person. Your entire speech was in chronological order, so we could figure out your life and more about you. And I think your speech was a near perfect 10. My very few recommendations would be on using pauses, the power of pause. I'm sure you have listened to many speakers on stage. When they pause, we are more eager, we sink in first what they're saying, and we are more eager to hear more from them. And another recommendation, if I may suggest, would have been to elaborate on your journey at Abu Dhabi. Okay, you have spent 18 years there, and not many of us know that land. Okay, had you told us a little bit about your life, the truth there, the culture there is different. Okay, so that would have given the audience some information about that land. And also, you have had the chance of working with royalty. Our Toastmaster of the Day introduced you to that effect, and I was eager to know what was the experience you had with royalty. So that you very briefly touched upon and moved on. But those are experiences which the audience will not know. None of us maybe have. So had you elaborated a little more on that, it would be good. You're a brilliant speaker, Vidya, okay, and you have a great command over the language. You have the dedication and the sincerity to pursue what you have started. So I look forward to many more speeches from you at regular intervals. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Hannah, for that wonderful evaluation. And please, let's give the speaker, Vidya and Hannah, a huge round of applause. Then we had our third speaker, Toastmaster Gaurav, and who was evaluated by the fashionable Toastmaster Danya. So may I request Danya to please come in for
Looking back with pride and sharing this journey with honor with all of us, Toastmaster Gaurav definitely lived up to his name. Some of the highlights of Toastmaster Gaurav's speech for me today was how he narrated his journey, the hero's journey from a small town, Badwani, the challenges that he faced, how he overcome overcame them with honor, how he earned the respect, and how he looks back honorably at his journey and proudly reflects on it. I also love the fact that he painted his whole village, the people, his grandfather, what a powerful figure he was, and how his mom had to work with him to win his grandfather's confidence, and how, in spite of both he painted the emotion. I was looking back at how I was with my father when he spoke about how he went up the hill with his father and they would look at the sunrises, and how his mom would encourage him to go and win in front of the family. And again, Toastmaster Gaurav also put an effort to show his love for the language. He said English was what he wanted to win over, and he put all efforts in today's speech to convey to us through English the change of heart in his grandfather, how his mom advised him and told him to soar like a bird. In terms of what he could improve, is instead of starting with welcoming the club members, he could have started with a more powerful hook line. Imagine if he had said, too much pride can cost you everything, but no pride is no self-respect and honor. And his body was very well prepared. His conclusion also, Toastmaster Gaurav, I think conclusion also could be powerful and a punch. The way I look at it is start with a powerful hook and get the audience hooked. And as you go, I'm sure you become more confident. You may take your hand out of your pocket, be able to present yourself more confidently in terms of your body language and connect with the audience. The punchline, and when you hook the audience, will give you confidence to go through that. And close it with a punch. Thank you.
Thank you, evaluator Danya. Just one single point must remind you, body language is not a requirement of this speech. So that is a challenge for you, but it's not a prerequisite. It's only opening body, conclusion. So if you had not delved into that, that's good, because it's just his first speech. Don't have to worry about body language per se, right? So, but apart from that, please give Danya and our speaker Gaurav a few. Then we had our fourth speaker, Toastmaster Himani, and who is going to be evaluated by our president, immediate past president, Toastmaster Vaidyanathan.
My dear Toastmasters, welcome guests, and the speaker Himani in particular, very good evening. So today the speaker attempted the icebreaker speech, and the project had two specific objectives. Number one, to get yourself introduced in front of a larger audience. And number two, to speak in an order wherein you have a clear body, opening, body, and conclusion. So let us see how exactly the speaker fared in fulfilling these two objectives. To begin with, she started off with a very good metaphor and equated the ice cream with her life. And she also said that before the life goes away, enjoy every moment. And she equated it with ice. So job brilliantly that water walking. And number two, she also gave a very brief overview about where she was born, in the hill city of Nainital, the way she worked, Delhi, Pune, and the second home, Bangalore. And the third most important thing where she excelled today was her command to our English as a language. We never felt that she was uncomfortable throughout. Right? Those three areas, very well done. Having said that, there are a few areas where you can definitely think of improving. Number one, this project calls for having a proper structure in your speech. The structure in the sense you need to have a very clear opening, body, and conclusion. The body in the sense there is a structure within the body itself. When you are speaking about your educational qualification, when you moved to Pune, you should have started about your schooling. Then you should have started about the pranks that you played with your sibling. And then your college education. And then what you did with your professional career. And how come you came to Bangalore. So that's the chronology of the events you could have spoken. But in your case, you spoke about Nainital and then moved to Pune and then you moved to Delhi and then you started speaking about the pranks later. Pranks were not something that you were doing when you were working, right? So there is a chronology of the events or there is a structure within the body of the speeches. So that's one. And second, this project calls for getting yourself introduced in front of a larger audience. And there are many elements to it, like the place you are born, you ticked it. Where you study, but we didn't know your school education. So we got to know that you studied in Pune about your masters in HR. But you also had an opportunity to give ourselves a fair bit of an idea about what Himani is. We also didn't get to know about your parents, what they were doing. And for how many years you said that you are working here in Bangalore for 6 years. So what are you working? So where are you working? So what exactly the profession is? Where do you work? So we didn't get much of an information about you as a professional, right? So this project calls for that. And if you need to challenge yourself in the future speeches, then there are two specific suggestions which I make here. One is move out of the lectern. Okay, I know for sure that you were trying to figure out using that mic, which didn't work. But having said that, you could have used the stage and try to speak in front of a larger audience without being behind the lectern and use body language. Otherwise, job phenomenally done and you ticked all the boxes, barring the one which I suggested you to do. Thank you very much.
I really appreciate one thing, special appreciation of this evaluation is the fact that the purpose of the speech, you have to start with that and then give your evaluation because it makes it more structured. And that's one thing that Vaidyanathan as an evaluator did, which was great. Again, Himani, very specifically, those are challenges for you, but body language and other things are not a requirement of the speech. And the only other thing which I think Vaidyanathan could have touched on is again the fact that when you ended your speech, you said thank you. And if you want your ending to be powerful, and that's why I think it's this. Back to the Toastmaster. If I say thank you, it dilutes the end, and that's something that could have been touched on. But apart from that, from a wonderful and great evaluation by Vaidyanathan and for the speaker, please give both of them. Now, this is for the guests and also for some of the members also, many of you would know. But many of you must have been wondering after every icebreaker, why is everyone standing up and speaking? While sometimes guests come, they do a table topic, they're expecting everyone to stand, but it doesn't happen, right? Like it does that. So just wanted to give you an idea as to what the whole concept is. After an icebreaker, as a show of support and encouragement, it being the first speech, we have everyone standing up and appreciating the person, and so that they can go on for their upcoming speeches. I know it was not delved into, but it's important that everyone understands why it happens, because sometimes we just get up because everyone's getting up, right? And we don't know. So that's just something that I wanted to bring up. Now, for all the speakers and all the evaluators, please give a huge round of applause. Then we had Toastmaster, not Toastmaster of the day, table topic master, Toastmaster Rahul. Where is Rahul? Yeah. Now, Rahul, as you can see, has a very serious expression. Rarely he smiles, and now when I spoke about smiling, he smiled. Rahul, you have a great smile. You could use it more often, right? But I must, congratulate you on the fact that you planned a very fun, creative exercise. What I liked most about it, I don't know whether it was intentional or not, but it was quite a bolt from the blue for many people, right? So it actually went well with the theme, right? And it was well exemplified. In fact, I would normally tell people that don't call the name, introduce the topic, but this was very well done. I was going to tell you that there were a lot of people who opened it, saw what they wanted, and then picked it up. But then somewhere down the line, you figured that out. While all of this was great, and I found a lot of people, it was quite simple. And the main, intention of table topics is to have people speak, and a lot of people spoke. There was not one person who didn't say anything, and they spoke for a while. I think almost everybody crossed a minute. That's great in itself. One thing I really felt is when you're doing something fun like table topics, great smile is very important. Case in point, if you are to say, introducing next, Toastmaster Puni. And if you have that energy going, the person feels great. First of all, it's also because the Toastmaster who you're introducing is kind of nervous in the first place. So if you have a smile on your face, it always is great. Secondly, between topics, it's good to have a little bit of transition, right? If a person said something, you're like, hey, that was interesting, I just thought about it, then introduce the next speaker. So what happened is you just went, point name by name by name. That's something that I thought you could improve on. But honestly, as a person, not even as a general evaluator, as a person who's just witnessing it, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I could see a lot of people enjoy it. And I really liked the fact that towards the end, you asked them to pick up two things and kind of play around with that. And I think that's great. Please give Toastmaster Rahul a huge round of applause. So now coming to the Toastmaster of the day, the very dynamic, well-attired, charismatic Puneet. One thing about him was, even before you utter a word, you charm the audience, and that's a presence you have. You came on stage, you have a very strong, likable personality, so to say. One thing I really enjoyed about what you do is that you have a very effortless personality. And what do I mean by that? Even when you are talking and introducing people, your intros don't feel labored, right? It feels like it's a mix of spontaneous, yet you have you have done your preparation, which is a great asset to have as a person. And the most important thing is that you had really nice intros for everyone. Having intros for I'd say the hidden heroes or heroines, that is the tag team, is very important. You even introduced the evaluators and the speakers. Great job done. Now, having said that, with all that you did, one more thing I want to tell you is the transitions between what people spoke about, which I think you did quite effortlessly, which requires a lot of spontaneity, and I think you handled that well. Having said that, there are a couple of things that I felt if you had done, it would have improved. Now, the first thing, when you came on stage, you delved into Toastmasters, which is great. We all want to know about Ralph C. Smedley, and you went a step further and you spoke. But I felt you delved into it quite a bit. And by the end of it, I was wondering, what is that basic moral of the story. By then you had multiple messages. Apart from that, I would have really liked if you had delved into the theme, which is bold from the blue. I was expecting that, but it did not happen, and that is where I felt you missed something there. Apart from that, you had, as I said, you had great introduction, but it does happen. Unfortunately, for one of the speakers, you forgot the title. Now, that's not the point. It happens. What happens there is that it's always good to have notes in handy. So if I were you, so if I was here, I didn't have to say, oh my God, I forgot your intro. What was that you said? You would have just come, referred to your notes, and done it. Now, another tip which I would like to give you is that while you rehearse every part of what you're doing, you come to the first speaker you introduce, and then you're sitting there. Use that time to look at the next speaker and the evaluator. It gives you that time to understand what the title is. So I felt that if you use that time, you could have used it to brush, and we are all just trying to improve. So I think that would have been, great. But a Toastmaster of the day is someone that threads the meeting together without letting, be in the spotlight. And I think, Puneet, you did a fantastic job. Please give him a huge round of applause for the absolutely wonderful job that he did. Now, I spoke to you about hidden heroes and heroines. It's time to bring them on. Let's have the timer Toastmaster Shreya to give her evaluation. Request each of the tag team to keep their evaluation within a minute. Thank you.
So today, most of the speakers were right on time, this section there, but only few speakers were a little bit over time, few seconds. That is Toastmaster Mehbooba by 5 seconds, and Toastmaster Gaurav Malya by 31 seconds, and evaluators Toastmaster Robinson by just 1 second, and Toastmaster Vedanthan by 31 seconds. Thank you.
Please give Shreya a huge round of applause. Now, can I request the counter Toastmaster Bhavna to give her quote.
Some of the tallest speakers of today were President Shashank, Toastmaster Robinson, Puneet, Vidya, Ankit, Gangadhar, Hannah, Vaidyanathan. People who use less than 5 crutch words were Mehbooba, Himani, Taran, Aditya, Chiran, Abhay. Today's favorite crutch word has been and elaborating on the tips I brought up at the beginning. Filler words while transitioning instead of or could be now, moving on to, or coming to so-and-so subject. The other one is reducing your anxiety by taking a few deep breaths that I realized helps me calm down and reduce my filler words. I'd like to end by saying that, and also I'm super happy to announce that the page has very few marks indicating less crutch words. And I'd like to end by saying that crutch words are like glitches in your mobile network. The lesser they are, the better you can connect with our audience. Thank you.
Please give Bhavna a huge round of applause. And also the Toastmaster Brian to give his.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. So I have just 1 minute. So the not so good uses of today where I am unable to study. It can be I was unable to study. To adjust this way of life, can we adjust to the way of life? Had change of heart, can we had a change of heart? become failure, see each other face, maybe over with COVID. The good usages of today were chronicle, catalog, crystallize. Crystallizing Toastmasters, out of the blue, the Hindi verse by Mahbubullah. Bold, from the blue was used 6 times, so a huge round of applause. And begin, buzzed with energy, on my skills, tall like trees, curiosity and compassion over judgment, and a beautiful array of adjectives by Himani. Rabbit out of the bag, Girish's Kannada line, glamorous skyscrapers, and 2 birds in 1 stone, effectively utilized, kindly given back. So to conclude, we had 30 people on stage today with the excellent usage of adjectives, more of good words than bad ones. The theme of the day being used more than the word of the day. And also, the word of the day was used once by the TMOD, Puneet, huge round of applause. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Please give the tag team a huge round of applause, please. This concludes my evaluation. I thought it was absolutely a fantastic meeting. I'd like to congratulate the committee for doing such a fantastic job. This is one of the committees that actually follows up with you. Again, I had the VP Ed, Priyanka, who 2 days back just messaged me again saying, is there something that you need? Right, which was amazing. No one has absolutely done that before, which I thought was amazing to do as a person. This is something that I always say, as a general evaluator, I get to evaluate everyone, but no one gets to evaluate me. I would request all of you, post the meeting, any feedback on the job that you think I did, feel free to meet me online. We are all here to improve, and I would love to hear what you felt. And again, thank you for the committee for giving me this opportunity. And with that, I will also give you something that you've always been waiting for, which is the passcode. Right? The passcode is MOON, M-O-O-N, all small letters. And with that, I would like to bring on and call on the Toastmaster of the day, Puneet. Please give him a huge round of applause and then get back to him.
I believe all of you are through. I thoroughly enjoyed today's evening, and I want to end with this, which I found is a very good bookmark for all of us to follow. It's the actual tagline or motto of Toastmasters in the 1960s, and I find it fascinating. So it was called Toastmasters International, and the motto was for better listening, thinking, and speaking. And I wanted to find something that really underlines this, and I found it in the 1964 October magazine of Toastmasters International. This was the final and the last article that Ralph C. Smedley wrote before he passed on, and this is what it said. Our motto encourages better listening and better thinking because these habits results in better speaking. Nobody can listen for you and nobody can do the thinking for you. Listen to others and evaluate their thinking. Then form your own conclusions and speak for yourself. Dr. Smedley's last general message to all the members of the Toastmasters fraternity. So let's not mix it up like we usually do. It's better listening, better thinking, and then better speaking. So better listening, better thinking, and better speaking. With that, I would like to hand it over to the president of Bangalore Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Puneet. What a wonderful meeting we had. We heard the perspectives of the new members of our club through the icebreaker speeches. And we learned from the best of the best. And out of the 4 evaluators today, we had 3 past presidents of our club. So the new members getting evaluated by the experienced ones. So wonderful meeting. Congratulations to all of you. Let us have a round of applause to all of you. And the role takers who were there on stage today. The TMOD, Table Topic Master, as well as the G, wonderful job by them. One more round of applause to all the role takers. And put in the tag team, young and energetic tag team. Before I move on to the awards for this meeting, the winners of certificates for this meeting, I also acknowledge the presence of DTM Deepak Lekhi, who has joined us, who was a past member of our club, now settled at Chandigarh, if I'm not wrong. So moving on to the awards. The Best Evaluator Award goes to Toastmaster Vaidyanathan. The Best Auxiliary Role Taker, Tag Team Player, goes to Toastmaster Bhavana. The Best Table Topic Speaker Award goes to Toastmaster Suhas.